They forgot you. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not dance around it. They forgot your name. They forgot your effort. They forgot your loyalty. You were there for them, but when it was your turn, silence. You showed up. You gave everything. You sacrificed sleep, time, peace, pride, and still they left you out. They overlooked you, and now you're sitting in the shadows wondering, did they ever really see me at all? But listen to me, you're not invisible, you're just early. They didn't forget you because you're not enough. They forgot you because they never saw the storm you were surviving. They don't know what you've been building in the dark. They don't know the nights you cried and still kept going, the days you were breaking and still chose to show up. They don't know how many times you've been knocked down, disrespected, ignored, and still rose. That silence you're hearing, that space they left you in, that's your fuel. That's your advantage. See, being forgotten ain't the end, it's the setup. The setup for the rise they never saw coming. You ain't done. You ain't finished. You're just getting started. You don't need them to remember you out of pity. You're about to make them remember you through power, through execution, through discipline, through consistency, through greatness. So loud it echoes in rooms you haven't even walked into yet. So don't you dare turn this off. Don't you dare fold under the weight of being overlooked. Don't you dare shrink to fit into places that never made room for you. This is the moment. This is the message. This is the spark. You got left out? Good. Now you've got nothing holding you back. They forgot you? Good. That means you're free to rebuild without expectation. Now it's time to become undeniable. And by the time they remember, it'll be too late. You'll already be legendary. Let's get it. They forgot you. Good. Let that settle in. Let it burn. Let it wake something up in you, because that moment when you realize they left you out, skipped your name, ignored your effort, passed you up like you never mattered, that wasn't a loss. That was a moment of awakening. That was life telling you, stop waiting to be seen. It's time to see yourself. See, when people forget you, you feel like maybe you don't matter, like your grind didn't count, like all your late nights, all the times you bit your tongue, all the times you clapped for others when no one clapped for you. None of it meant anything. But I'm telling you right now, it meant everything. The world just ain't seen the result yet. They didn't see what you planted. And now that you're being overlooked, that's just confirmation that your harvest is gonna be too big to ignore. You gotta flip the story. You gotta stop seeing being forgotten as failure. It's not failure, it's fuel. The best kind of fuel. The kind that doesn't fade. The kind that lights a fire deep in your soul and says, I'm not doing this for attention. I'm doing this for legacy. They forgot your name, but they'll remember your results. They forgot your face, but they're gonna feel your presence when you walk into rooms they never thought you'd enter. That rejection, that wasn't rejection, that was redirection. You were never meant to beg for a seat at their table. You were meant to build your own. Stop chasing people who can't see your value. Stop explaining your vision to people who were never meant to carry it. You were overlooked on purpose so you could over-deliver in silence, so you could build in the dark, train when nobody's watching, heal when nobody checks in, and then come back so refined, so sharp, so locked in that the same people who doubted you don't even recognize who you've become. You think you need motivation? No. You need memory. Go back. Remember how they made you feel. Remember how they switched up. Remember how they said they'd be there and disappeared the moment it got quiet. Let that remind you that your name is not tied to their permission. You don't need to be chosen when you were built to rise without being seen. This season ain't about proving them wrong. It's about proving you right. That voice inside you that kept whispering, you're not done yet. That voice that said, keep going. That wasn't just noise. That was your future trying to speak. The truth is, every great comeback begins in silence. Every powerful legacy is born in moments of being forgotten. But the difference between the ones who stay forgotten and the ones who make the world remember is the decision to use the pain, not wear it. To use the silence as space to grow. To use the shadows to sharpen your light. To grind when there's no applause. To rise when no one expects it. To become what they never saw coming. They forgot you? Good. That means you've got the element of surprise. Now move. Now build. Now execute. Because when you're finally ready to show the world who you are, you won't have to say a word. Your presence will speak for you. Stop waiting on them to clap. Stop waiting on them to notice. Stop hoping they'll finally say your name. Finally recognize what you've been doing. Let me be real with you. You don't need their recognition to rise. You don't need their permission to go to the next level. What you need is a shift. A shift from seeking validation to chasing execution. Because the ones who make history aren't the ones who get celebrated early. They're the ones who put in the work when nobody's watching. Some of you are stuck because you're addicted to attention. You move when people cheer. You slow down when they stop watching. And every time you get ignored, your fire fades. But let me tell you something. Real champions don't need cameras. They grind in the dark. They push when it's quiet. They grow when it's lonely. They don't chase recognition. They chase results. If you want to be great, then stop trying to be seen and start focusing on being effective, because your power doesn't come from being known. It comes from being consistent. The applause will come later, but the work has to come now. You can't plant seeds and stand there waiting for the world to notice your effort. You've got to plant, water, grind, sweat, cry, and keep showing up without applause. And when the results show up, that's when they remember you. But you won't get there if you keep checking your worth in the reflection of other people's reactions. Some of y'all are grinding for validation instead of purpose. That's why you get frustrated. That's why you keep quitting. Because when people don't respond, you take it personal. But you can't base your pace on people's praise. Your calling is bigger than their opinions. You got to get to a point where you say, even if they never clap, I'm going to finish what I started. You got to move like someone who already knows what they're carrying. Like someone who knows the value of the vision with or without a crowd. You weren't called to be popular. You were called to be impactful. And real impact takes time. Real impact takes isolation. Real impact takes faith in the unseen. They might not see the late nights. They might not see the sacrifices. They might not see the pain, but keep building anyway. Keep showing up anyway. Keep leveling up anyway, because your work will outlive the silence. Your discipline will speak louder than their doubt. Your consistency will echo longer than their criticism. Don't let their lack of applause rob you of your future. You have a choice. Either build for attention or build for alignment. When you're aligned with purpose, you're not moved by trends. You're not discouraged by being overlooked. You're not waiting on someone to co-sign your destiny. You keep going because you know where you're headed. You grind because you know what you're carrying. You work like every brick you lay in silence is part of a foundation the world will eventually have to stand on. So stop begging to be seen. Stop posting just to prove. Stop showing up only when it feels good. Get rooted, get focused, get relentless. Let your growth be your statement. Let your results be your voice. Because when the time is right, your work will be undeniable and you won't need to say a word. Your life will speak so loud, they'll have no choice but to pay attention. Make them remember you by making moves they can't ignore. They thought you were done because they couldn't see you. They thought it was over because you went quiet. They stopped mentioning your name because your face disappeared from the spotlight. What they didn't realize is while they were sleeping on you, you were building in the shadows. You were working when nobody noticed. You were healing when nobody cared. You were stacking strength brick by brick when nobody thought to check in. That's where real transformation happens, in the shadows. Not on stage, not on social media, not under the lights. It happens in silence. It happens when the room is empty and your name ain't being called. That's where you develop the kind of discipline that can't be shaken. That's where you build foundations that don't crack when the pressure hits. That's where greatness is born. See, everybody wants to shine, but nobody wants to be shaped. Everybody wants the reward, but nobody wants the refinement. And the refining doesn't happen when people are clapping. It happens when they forget you. When you're alone with the vision. When you're forced to ask yourself, do I really want this? That quiet season, that's preparation. And I know it's frustrating. I know it feels like you're doing everything right, but nothing's changing. You're pouring in time, effort, love, and still being overlooked. But let me tell you something real. They may not see the progress, but you're still growing. Just because the spotlight isn't on you doesn't mean the fire isn't in you. The seed grows underground before it ever breaks the surface. And just like that seed, what you're building in silence will show. In time, they laughed because they thought you vanished. But what they didn't know is you were going through a private war just to make a public impact. You were developing skills, upgrading your mindsets, training your soul, learning how to lead through pain, not just praise. And when you come back, and you will, you're not coming back the same. You're coming back refined. You're coming back focused. You're coming back ready to walk in rooms you used to be locked out of. But don't rush it. Don't get discouraged because it's taking time. That quiet season is sacred. That's where your roots grow. That's where your grit is tested. That's where you separate who's real from who's temporary. You learn things in the shadows that the spotlight can't teach you. You gain peace. You build character. You get solid in ways that people who never disappear never develop. And when it's time to shine, you don't need to yell. You don't need to scream, I'm back. All you have to do is walk in it. All you have to do is move like the version of you that was forged in the silence. All you have to do is let the work speak. Let the present speak. Let the results speak. So if you're in that season right now, hidden, overlooked, misunderstood, don't run from it. Embrace it. Because that quiet space is your workshop. That silence is your sanctuary. While they're talking, you're transforming. While they're guessing, you're growing. While they're counting you out, you're counting every rep, every lesson, every moment as preparation. Stay in your attention. Stay in your grind. Stay in your lane. Keep building until your presence makes noise without a word. Because when you build in the shadows, you don't just return, you rise unstoppable. You don't need to scream to be remembered. You don't need to flex to prove your value. This isn't about revenge. It's not about throwing your success in their face. No, this is about becoming so undeniable that the same people who forgot you now have to mention your name with respect. Not because you forced them to, but because you earned it in silence, in struggle, in sweat. That comeback you're working on, it's not for them, it's for you. It's not to feed your ego, it's to fulfill your calling. You're not here to get even. You're here to elevate, because when you rise out of that pit, when you step up from the place where they left you, when you come back better, wiser, stronger, There's no need to speak on it. Your life becomes the message. Your presence becomes the response. Let them talk. Let them sleep. Let them scroll past your name like it never mattered. That's fine. You don't need to interrupt them. You just need to build. Because when you show up doing what they never believed you could do, all that noise fades into silence. You're not going to return with attitude. You're going to return with impact. See, most people come back loud because they're still hurting. They want validation, applause, payback. But you've done the work. You've grown in the silence. You've built your strength not for show, but for substance. So when you walk back into that space, it's not about proving anything. It's about owning everything. You're not here to match the energy of the people who forgot you. You're here to shift the room just by showing up. You're here to turn your pain into presence, to let your progress speak in places where your voice was once ignored. You don't have to remind them who you are. They'll feel it, the shift, the growth, the fire. They'll feel the difference between who you were and who you become. And they'll remember. But remember this, your rise isn't just about being seen. It's about making a difference. Your voice isn't just to be heard. It's to help. Your power isn't just for clout. It's for impact. So don't waste time on petty energy. Don't shrink your purpose down to proving a point. You've been through too much for that. Let them remember you because you stood for something, because you loved hard, worked hard, and rose with grace. Let them remember you not because you were loud, but because you were real. Let them remember the way you kept moving even when no one believed, the way you stayed consistent when it was easier to quit, the way you carried light in dark places. That's what lasts. That's what echoes. You were never meant to clap back. You were meant to climb higher. You were never meant to chase people. You were meant to lead them. You were never meant to be seen for what you lost. You were meant to be remembered for what you became. So keep your head down and your work up. Keep your energy clean. Keep your focus locked. And when the time is right, you have to knock on the door. They'll open it because your greatness was too loud to ignore. Let the comeback speak. Let the results echo. Let the impact do what ego never could. Because real power doesn't shout. It shifts the room in silence.